Hello and welcome to the. I was gonna say my Gene Nintendo podcast.
You done screwed up, Matt.
Yeah. At least I didn't call you someone else's name. That can't happen now because I'm the host. Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm Matt, your host, and with me today is Eli.
Hello.
And Mike is having some troubles or something, so he'll probably pop in later. So we'll start off with what we've been playing. This week I decided to play a little bit of Mario Maker, and one of the guys I know from IGN called Kazrisk, he's been making a bunch of levels and...
He was on the podcast one time.
Yeah. So I was checking out some of the levels he's made, and he does some Let's Plays of other people's levels. So far his brother's, one of them is mine. But he made one really cool level, or one level I thought was really cool, called Yoshi's Final Ride. So the objective of this level is you can't progress unless you have Yoshi. That's just the way he built the level. So you have to go through all these different challenges without losing Yoshi. And it's pretty easy to hold on to Yoshi until you get to one section, just because the way the buzzsaws are set up, if you land on it properly, then Yoshi will, scurry away and then like fall in a hole. And then you're screwed because you can't finish the level without him. So then you die and have to restart it. But it's really cool. I like the way you made it. I think it's really well made, and his levels and people like his who really put a lot of effort into it need to be upvoted and stuff, because there's too many levels that are either upvoted because people are famous, so they automatically get so many viewers, or just people are like, here's every amiibo or here's every item and just kill everything, like really mediocre kind of childish levels. So I don't know, I kind of like to see those levels get pushed to the forefront. I'll leave his the code to his level in the description for you people to play, but it's really cool. You should check it out. I have one level I'm almost done. I'm basically done, but I need to do a little bit of testing and whatnot just to finish it up.
Oh wow, you're really trying to perfect it. When I think I built like one level and it was just one go, and it was, I guess, not a great level, but I never really thought about stopping and coming back to it to finish it up and perfect it and test it and all that. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I kind of got that from his levels when he did some walkthroughs and stuff, and one of his brothers, his idea was in one of the Mario challenges, you can get 3 1-ups in a level. And I think if there's no 1-ups in the level, you just automatically get all 3 if you beat it or something. I forget. But the point was, his brother set it up so he would hide the 1-ups in certain parts of the stage. So I kind of took that that advice as well. So the idea for my level was have a somewhat easier path and then a harder path. And then if you go through the harder path, you can get rewarded with the 1-ups. And just trying to, I forget the proper term for testing is, but I was just trying to test it so it works properly rather than just, it works for this one single time I use it and every other time it's busted. So, I don't know, I just wanted to make something that's of somewhat quality. Yeah, and then the other thing I played was Valkyria Chronicles. So, if you don't know what Valkyria Chronicles is, think of, what's the Steam game? It's not Codename Steam for the 3DS. So if people don't know what Valkyria Chronicles is, Steam. Yeah, it's basically Codename Steam, the prior version, I guess you could say. It's not the same team or whatever, but it's the same concept that they did before, where you kind of move your troops one at a time, but in a 3D battle, or in a 3D like arena, and it's turn-based strategy mixed with real time. So if you move in, then the enemies can also shoot you and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to play too much of it, probably like an hour or two. But one thing I do like more from Codename Steam than Valkyria Chronicles is if you run into an enemy's path on Codename Steam, the enemy will shoot you once, and you can just stand in that spot, and they won't shoot you again unless you keep moving closer towards them or whatever, moving out of your square. But in Valkyria Chronicles, if you just stand there, it's more realistic where the people will just keep shooting you. So you have to be, if you want to get close to an enemy to kill them, you have to be quick or else you're going to die trying to kill them. The other thing I don't like too much about it, and maybe just because I was just spoiled in Codename Steam, was you can only attack once. So if you run in and shoot with your gun or whatever, that's it. Even if you have a lot of your bar to move left, you basically can't do anything unless you want to move closer to like the back of their level or something like that. So there's some things.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so some things Codename Steam fixed up a bit more than Valkyria Chronicles. Although Valkyria Chronicles doesn't take forever for the team's turn to go, and it's easier to see what they're doing, so that's not too much of a pain or anything. But I don't know. I think it's not that hard to get over. It's just something a little different. But that's pretty much what I've been playing. Have you gotten to play anything else?
Yeah, so I've played 2 games in the last week, one substantially less than the other. I played a little bit of Chibi Robo Ziplash, and by a little bit, maybe like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And so far I think it's okay to decent.
So I'm guessing this isn't a review copy, you just bought it on a whim or something?
Yeah, I bought it because of the Amiibo.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that next.
As could be expected from a man like me. And so I bought it and played a little bit, and I think the gameplay's a little slow for my liking. I really don't like the wind up of the Ziplash. I wish it would wind up quicker, shoot out quicker. It just seems a little too slow in pace. I don't really have too many problems with the level design yet, but on the other hand, I'm only half an hour in, as I said, and I'm afraid that maybe in a few hours I won't be so, okay with the gameplay. It might wear thin. Yeah. So I really hope they add in some new stuff, because it's already starting to, there's already, a lack of enemy variety, for example, even just in 30-40 minutes. So we'll see where it goes from here. And then the other game I've been playing is City Skylines for the PC. It's just a city building simulator, I guess, like what people would see from SimCity. But it's its own thing, and I'm doing it more for a university project that I have, where I'm playing throughout this next year various simulation and management games. I started with City Skylines, and it's really cool. I feel like the only problem with it is I think I'm about 12 hours into one game, and I feel like after that certain point where you've built up a city to a certain point, it kind of gets a little boring, because your population just doesn't... because you unlock different elements in the city based off of population benchmarks. Once you get 40,000 people, you unlock something new. Once you get 60,000 people, you unlock new stuff. And at one point, the benchmarks are just so much larger than the previous one that you're waiting a larger amount of time before you unlock new things. And, there's only so much you can do while the time is passing. So, for example, right now, I've got $3 million in the bank, which is actually a lot of money, and I don't really know what to do with it, because the city just isn't growing fast enough for me to spend money on stuff. So that's my problem with the game.
Can you buy more land or something?
I can, but just because you buy more land and zone it and build new roads, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to move in to fill it right away. You still have to wait for the people to move in. Yep. So I build the roads as I can, But it was really fun at the beginning. I think it's a really good city builder for these like first 10 to 12 hours. But after that, we'll see where it goes. I'm going to continue playing it, of course, until I try to reach like the max levels. But I don't know if it's going to get a lot more entertaining or not, because it introduces new things slowly. At a pace that keeps things interesting, but at a certain point it kind of just falls off with introducing new elements and stuff.
Yeah, going back to Chibi Robo, I saw Game Explain's review, and it looks like it's going to be more annoying than I thought it would be. So to progress a level, like after you beat a level, instead of just choosing the next level, or there's only one level to go to next, you have like this lottery wheel basically.
Yeah.
And you land on like a space to see how many spaces you move, which is the dumbest concept I've ever heard, because now it's just like, you have to play this level because we don't have enough content to pad it out, so we'll just like make you redo it. But like,
you have to redo it? I mean, I don't know. I haven't yet. I've only played like 4 levels, so I don't really know. I haven't had experience that yet. But if I have to redo, that's gonna piss the hell out of me.
I think you have to redo the level. I'm not if you land on that space.
Okay, well, I guess stay tuned to next week's podcast, because then I can tell you whether how pissed off that makes me or not.
Yeah, apparently you can use some of the coins in the game, which you don't use for much else, to change the numbers on the wheel. So you could the guy in the review just changed every number on the wheel to be 1. So he doesn't like skip over or have to redo levels. It's just like, okay, I'm moving one at a time. You're not screwing me out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But with SimCity,
It's not SimCity, it's Cities Skylines.
Okay.
Just to clarify, it's not. Maybe in another week I'll have an update on SimCity, but Cities Skylines is developed by a different company.
Okay. Well, regardless, that reminded me of a SimCity game that my friend gave me. I didn't even care for SimCity. He just thought it was cool, and he's like, I'm going to get this for you for your birthday when I was like a teenager or something. And I'm like, okay, why are you getting me a game you want? That doesn't make any sense. It's not like you borrowed it anyway. But it was SimCity Societies. And I wasn't really interested in that sort of building a city or anything. I liked Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I didn't really care so much about building buildings and skyscrapers and whatnot. So me and my friend were playing, and we just built like this giant city, and we ended up removing like all of every place any person could work and replaced it with breweries. So the only places people could work was at a single... Oh wait, no. Okay, so what happened was I had a big city, I removed all of the jobs, so no one could do anything, and they just like disappeared, and there was like almost zero population. And then as soon as I put down one job, I put like a brewery. As soon as I put that one down, like 1 million people come out from the forest like zombies to chase this one job. They're like, we need a job. It's just so weird.
So I think that might be one difference between SimCity and City Skylines is SimCity might be more like a actual sim, where like you kind of try to just screw with the world and see what happens. I don't know if that's true or not, because I haven't played it yet, but that's kind of what it sounds like you described. But in City Skylines, you definitely want things to go well. You don't really want to fuck with stuff.
Yeah. No, I was just screwing with the game, because I'm like, I don't care about this game. Let's just mess it up as royally as we can. We threw like meteors and other crap too. It was really weird. But I was talking to UnoClay yesterday, and the Star Wars Battlefront beta came out, and apparently people have been playing it. I haven't really tried it. I don't even know if I can.
I think it's just on the PS4. I'm not sure, because I haven't downloaded it either.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's on Origin or not. But have you heard... UnoClay told me that a lot of people he was in a Skype chat with were saying they hated it or didn't really like it. Have you heard anything about it?
Yeah, well, I of course, I hadn't played it yet, so once again, I'm pointing that out. But what I'm hearing from a lot of people is it just doesn't bring very much new to the table, and there's not much in-depth content. It's just a shooter with a skin of Star Wars on it, you know? I mean, it's kind of a shame because, you'd think that there would be something cooler, but it seems like they just took the license and slapped it onto a generic type of shooter and didn't really go anywhere from there. However, I also did, read about people liking the game, so I can't really speak to that.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not one to play a ton of shooters anyway, so I'll probably will buy the game when it's like $20 because if you have an Xbox One and you have EA access, then you just got Battlefield Hardline for free. So I might be playing that because it's free.
Yeah. It's
one thing I did want to add that I played and forgot to talk about is Super Meat Boy, because that is pretty relevant. Because if you... what?
Go on.
If you're a PS4 owner and you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, then you receive Super Meat Boy for free. But the company also announced that it's coming to the Wii U later this year or early next year, but it's coming, which is really cool. I played it previously on the PC, but only got like one world in. I've been playing it again recently, and now I'm about 3 or 4 worlds in, I think.
Oh, nice.
It's a really fun game, really hard game, very little room for error when playing through it. There's not really much to say on it other than Wii U owners should definitely keep on the lookout and pick it up once it comes out.
Yeah, there have been some other hard games on the indie shop on the eShop for Wii U that have done that. One is 1001 Spikes, I think, and that is a map creator. But Super Meat Boy is great too. I guess I can't say how great it is because I don't think I've beaten the first world. I think I got stuck at the first boss and then just kind of left it for something else and just never went back. But from what I played, it was fun. So if you can handle that kind of precise platforming, then it should be up your alley.
Yeah, the thing is about Super Meat Boy is, in other games, like Mario, for example, or Donkey Kong, or whatever platformer, 90% of the time, the levels are laid out in such a way to where, you should be able to play them naturally because the length of the jump corresponds to the amount of distance between blocks or whatnot. So it's more about memorizing how, when you do a long jump, when you do a short jump, when you stop, etc. Super Meat Boy is not like that, because if you want to, you can jump super far or short or anywhere in the middle, because it's, as you said, it's responsive. So the second you stop pressing the jump button, you are coming down, and the second you stop going left and right, you are stopping, and to the point where on one you might have to do a long button press, and then right after that you'll have to do a 3/4 of a button press or whatnot. But it's very exact, as you pointed out, and that's what makes it so far hard, because it's imperfect, and that's what makes it fun too.
Yeah. Plus, you can bounce up the same wall rather than just once and you slide. And if you land on something, I think you slide a bit, so it's not like Mega Man where you instantly stop right in your place. It gets pretty hard. Before we get on to news, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian podcast listeners who are listening to this. So
I didn't know that Thanksgiving was in October.
Yeah.
For Canada.
Yeah, I don't.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, that's exactly what Unokle said. So I guess we'll go on to Amiibo news.
The most important news, as some would say.
Clearly. So it looks like Nintendo isn't messing around with restocks. One of the images of a store showed so there were a bunch of Amiibo at launch that went out pretty quickly, and one of them was Marth. And one person showed the store's stock of Marth, and I counted, and they had about 100 Marth Amiibo on the wall. Okay. So, yeah, I think Toys R Us stores in Wave 3, with Greninja and stuff, got 50 to 100 Amiibo, so it looks like these restocks are getting a healthy restock.
Yeah, you should be able to. So This is good, though, because mine are all first editions, and that's what matters.
Well, no one's gonna know the difference if you try to sell it.
Actually, that's
Except
not
for
necessarily
Villager.
true.
Really?
If you look at the back, first of all, if the Amiibo came out before February, then the backs only have a Wii U on it. If it came out after February, then all the Amiibos, including the restocks, have both the Wii U and the new 3DS.
Oh.
So like Marth, for example, you know second edition Marth because it has both instead of just one. Also, Villager is really easy to tell because he looks different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would say that's the only one that matters just because there's a visual difference, whereas like Marth, it's literally the same. It's just the packaging is like
it all matters.
0.1% difference. But it looks like Chibi Robo Ziplash sales are gonna tank because you can now buy, well, not now, but by the end of this year you can buy the Amiibo separately.
Well,
so
I wish I'd known before, because then I wouldn't have bought it.
I don't know why they're bothered. Like, they should have just held off until next year and just shut up about it, because then they would get people to buy the game with the Amiibo and spend more money on it, and then after it's like, okay, you can just buy it on its own. Because they would have gotten all the sales.
They only announced that like a day or two ago, so it was already pretty much post-launch. Everyone who bought the game, not everyone, 90% of the people that were going to buy the game already bought it anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're really losing any sales.
I guess. I would think it would just be better to hold off, like, since we're so close to Christmas, to just wait it out and then see if you get any more sales around Christmas, and then after then, like, yeah, you've gotten your majority of sales. But some other odd Amiibo news coming out this week is just yesterday Nintendo listed Shovel Knight and Chibi Robo as compatible Amiibo for Smash Brothers. So some people are taking this as it could just be like an error because they've had other errors apparently in the past. One commenter wrote like they put Ganondorf as compatible with Style Savvy. I don't know if that actually happened or not. It does have Amiibo support, but Andre from A Game Explained was saying like, yeah, they've screwed up before in the past. So this could easily be just to screw up. I don't know. We already talked about Shovel Knight and Chibi Robo in Smash before already, or last week technically. So if you want to listen to that discussion, you can listen to episode 32. But I don't think there's really a need to go over it again. Like, there's not much else we can say. It's going to be the same information. Here's a leak, or here's I was going to say an inkling, but I didn't mean it that way. Like, here's some random rumor thing that could possibly mean this or that, whatever. We've already talked about it. Unless it's a different character, fine, but I think we've said all we've needed to on that front. So for some things that were announced this week, Shin Megami Tensei 4 was announced for the 3DS.
Not Shin Megami Tensei 4, like some special edition, right? Because Shin Megami Tensei 4 definitely already came out.
Okay, so it's Shin Megami Tensei 4 Final. Yeah, just Final. Okay. I thought that was just the subtitle of, like, the next game or something.
There already was a SMT4, and it was really good. Probably one of the best games on the 3DS. I strongly recommend you play it.
Cool.
But, yeah, I have no idea. Does it say what's in this version? Is it what's extra?
Give me a sec to pull it up. No, not that I can see.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely recommend you play it, listeners, if you haven't already, because it's a really good RPG. I think I talked about it on this show when I was playing through it maybe a year or two ago, because it's kind of one of those games where the decisions you make influence the ending, whether you do good or bad, etc. Although you don't really know whether your decisions are necessarily good or bad, it's like a different ranking system. And then there's also like a perfect run you can do, and that's if you come out like perfectly even in the end. And somehow, without even trying, I accidentally got the perfect ending. But the problem was that in order to get the perfect ending, you're forced to do almost every single side quest, which I didn't have the stomach to get through. Yeah. So I kind of just stopped right before the end.
So, if you like that game, are you interested in the crossover with Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That looks incredible. However, it definitely looks a little more like Persona. Mm-hmm. But either way, it looks really good. I want to see more of the gameplay, because we really haven't seen much on it, and it looks far more influenced by Persona than it does by either Shin Megami Tensei or Fire Emblem, to be quite honest.
Yeah. They've released some gameplay videos, like, quietly over the months from the Japanese game, obviously, but so there's some stuff out there to look at, but yeah, there's not a whole lot yet. And the game's coming out this December in Japan, so I'm sure there'll be a blowout of news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. And it also depends on when they bring back Nintendo Direct, because it would be cool to have one for that.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, one of the rumors for Smash, I won't stay too long on this, was there's supposed to be like a blowout of news this month, and some people are thinking maybe there's a Direct, because one person wrote, like, every October since 2011 has had a Nintendo Direct, which doesn't necessarily mean that we will have
stupid.
one.
But that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't, but I don't know. I think it's been enough time since what has passed, and they've already announced their new, like, leader and whatnot, for them to make a Direct, especially if they're gonna have a new Smash Bros. Character from the ballot, like, come out. Like, I would think they would want a Direct for something like that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So it looks like Europe is gonna get a Wii U bundle with both Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon. So rather than just, like, Nintendo Land or some other game that you kind of half wanted, now you're getting two very high-profile games that you probably want.
It's still literally not going to sell any extra units.
Probably not, but maybe it'll sell more than it would have before. Like, yeah, like, it's not going to make the Wii U situation any better. It's still going to be tanking horribly, but...
It's funny, Pactor came out recently and said that his prediction was that the Wii U was going to sell 20 million units. And I'm like, wow. For once, Pactor's optimistic about Nintendo's future.
That's bad. What was it, like, only the beginning of this year they sold, like, 10 million?
Yeah.
And it's been 3 years?
Yeah.
Like,
it'll reach 15 million, maybe. Especially if the NX comes out next year. Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't look good. So the web version of Miiverse got redesigned and now has Google ads. So the story isn't about the Google ads. It redesigned the website in for web versions, desktop versions, to make it more interactive and whatnot. But it looks like now they added Google ads. And I saw you left a comment on Go Nintendo. So do you have... any thoughts on this?
I left a comment? I don't even remember what I wrote.
Oh.
What would I say?
Check it. I don't even think it was... Let me wait until I actually find it so I don't misquote you. How about you bring your online into the 21st century first?
Well, yeah, no. Well, okay, first of all, let me just say that honestly I don't care if there are ads or not.
Yeah.
But... the reason I wrote that is because they're trying to make revenue from their online, but I don't see why that's justified since they don't spend anything on their online. Mm-hmm. And so maybe if they actually, like, put together an online that's good and competitive, then I could understand them trying to make money on it. And I mean, even I know Nintendo fans are really against it, but like even like a subscription service, but. I would love free internet, and if they did that through ads, then I'm totally okay with it. But first, they have to create an internet that is good and has, like, voice chat
Has the
And
basics first.
yeah, before you start making money, why don't you actually get something that they can be proud of? And
Yeah.
Miiverse is literally the only thing they have that they can be proud of.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't. I didn't even notice at first. So the way they made it, it doesn't seem that intrusive because all of the posts and pictures are on their own separate blocks, kind of like menus in Sakurai games. It's all perfectly aligned and whatnot. But I don't know. It doesn't really look that professional to be like, here's our professional website. Here's Google ads on it. Like if I put stupid ads on my portfolio website to get people to hire me, like it looks shoddy. So I don't know. It looks
Yeah,
really
and the funniest thing is, and it would be the same thing in your case, is like you would make maybe 3 pennies on Google Ads.
yeah.
And it just wouldn't be worth it. Nintendo, okay, let's say, so this is just the online version. This isn't the Wii U or 3DS version.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just assume maybe 10,000 people access it a day, which I think is an enthusiastic estimate, to be quite honest, because I think the vast majority of people use the the console and handheld version of Miiverse. But let's say it's 10,000 people. That's literally like an extra $10 a day they're making, because Google Ads pay terrible. And I just don't see why a company like Nintendo. I mean, even if it wasn't $10, what if it was like $100? Which it's not. But why would you need that money? That's an extra $30,000 a year. I don't understand when they got millions and millions of dollars in revenue.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't get. It's like most people are using Miiverse on their consoles. Like, how often do people go on the web version? So it's like, what's the sense of putting it there in the first place? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just weird. So it looks like Nintendo and Amazon are starting to see each other after a long breakup because Amazon's selling Wii U bundles now.
Well, that's just thrilling. They're a little too late to the party.
Yeah.
And we still don't know whose fault this is, whether it's Nintendo or Amazon. Honestly, I think it's probably Amazon's fault.
Okay.
Amazon maybe wanted a higher cut, and Nintendo just said no. Because I can't really imagine anything Nintendo could do that would piss Amazon off. But great, they're going to sell an extra 100 Wii U's this holiday.
Yeah, it's like, it's so weird. It's like, we're going to sell them again. It's like, you chose the worst time to start selling again because no one's buying them.
Mm-hmm.
So Shovel Knight retail release is delayed to November 3rd now. They're delaying it so they can have the Plague Knight DLC on the disc and cartridge rather than you having to download it. So that's kind of cool. In case you have really bad internet and can't download like 3 megabytes or whatever it is. But still nice of them. So with Shovel Knight, with Runbow, there were a bunch of indie characters that were featured as costumes and whatnot you could play in the game. And it looks like all of them have banded together to give people a 30% discount on their eShop games. So I think it's like 15 or so games that are going to be 30% discounted. But the thing is, you have to buy Runbow first, and then you can get a 30% discount on one or all of these games that were partnered with the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a cool thing they did with each other.
Yeah, it's a cool deal.
Hoopa is going to be distributed for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire later this year, if you haven't hacked the game already. Gravity Falls, the 3DS game, is coming October 20th this month. I'm sure you'll get a kick out of this, Eli. Enuma determines friendship based on how many friends are in your neighborhood have 3DSs. So someone was asking him a question on, dang it, what's the stinking game called? Triforce Heroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when you play locally, and only locally, you can get these things called proofs of friendship, which allow you to create special costumes and whatnot. They haven't outlined what the costumes do or anything, but basically if you're playing with your friends in real life, you can actually get some kind of neat bonuses but not if you're playing online, which is what 90% of the people are probably doing.
Yeah, and if you happen to be playing online, then just hope to God that the person that you're paired up with has a stable internet, that B, they aren't terrible, that C, they have some sort of common sense knowledge on just everything in general, and D, that they don't leave for say a minute or accidentally close their 3DS. And then same goes for the second person you'll be playing with, because otherwise you're getting booted from your game. Yay! That was just my little rant again.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, he realizes, he was even saying in the question, he realizes it's harder for adults to gather together, but there's some niceness about it, because gaming has gotten so separated over the last couple of years with online, where it's basically you have to kick your friend out of the house if you want to play multiplayer with them, because there's no co-op or local play. So they just kind of wanted to throw people a bone here to reward people who actually play and bring each other together to play games, which is nice because it doesn't happen all that much.
Yeah, I'm sure the game is really fun locally. Trust me on that, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see when the reviews come out and how the critics will take about judging the game. Yeah. That's what I'm curious about.
Well, I think I wrote a thing on your article about it that I don't think reviews are going to be entirely accurate to the experience, because when you have a review, the only people playing online are other people's with review copies. So for the most part, the people you're playing with are going to have some sense of knowledge of either a Zelda game or just games in general. Whereas when the mainstream audience finally gets it, you're probably going to have this 50-50 sort of split, where half the people are new to this game and don't really know what they're doing, and the others do. So I think the reviewers are going to have an easier time playing, and then the actual people playing it are going to have a much harder time.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see all the people that are sticking up for the game now that have never played it, how they end up, reacting. I'm always interested, when people are experts on the game and have never played it before, and once they actually get their hands on the game, I think, you always have the great examples like Sonic Boom and stuff, where you got all these great, wonderful defenders of the game, and then they actually get their hands on it. So we'll see how it goes. Same thing goes with Devil's Third, by the way, because Devil's Third is quite the robust following, and when that game comes out and people see that it might actually be a 3 out of 10, then they'll have to take their pride and shove it up their butt a little bit. No offense.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I haven't seen that many people defend it, at least through Go Nintendo. I don't even know the person's name. I wouldn't even say it anyway. But I've seen one person excuse me, complain that other people are saying it's garbage. And he's like, oh man, trying to be sarcastic, oh man, reviewers are the pinnacle of, or critics are the pinnacle of, wow, I can't even phrase it right. He's basically saying oh man, reviewers are the be-all, end-all of reviews. So if they say it's a really crappy game, that means it's automatically a crappy game and nothing else matters, blah, blah. Trying to be snarky. But it's if you look at the game, it looks like a PS2 game. It doesn't look all that different or interesting. A lot of people are saying they're not really interested in it, and the people reviewing it at least know what problems are with it. So it's you can't just say their input doesn't matter, because they've at least gone through the experience and know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb to presume that.
Yeah.
For Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes, it actually has download play. So if you wanted to play it locally, only one person has to have a copy, and then the other two people can play as well. So that kind of makes it easier. You just have to have 3DSs.
Yes.
So on to some news. Splatoon a couple of weeks ago had a problem where someone was hacking the game and using content that's not actually out yet or may not be out at all, and it was corrupting some people's game saves. And it looks like Nintendo's finally banned those hackers for the most part. They don't say how long they're banned for. I kind of doubt its life. Maybe it's probably until they fix it next, whenever that is. But for now, you don't have to worry about people coming in and breaking your game.
That's good.
Some unfortunate news, though. Looks like Nintendo's done with Game Boy Virtual Console games the way Konami's done with making quality games. So someone was asking Natsume via Twitter if they were going to release some specific Game Boy game. And they basically said, no, Nintendo's done with that. They're moving on to other stuff, which kind of blows. I don't really get that, though. Because if a company approaches them and says, hey, we have interest in this game, can we put it on your service? Like, why would Nintendo shrug it off?
Yeah.
I mean, unless
they're
I'm
not
reading
the ones
that.
paying for it. You're right.
Unless I'm reading that wrong in how this thing is set up, but I don't really understand how that makes any sense, especially because it's basically a nostalgia service. So if people want it, if that audience wants to buy it, they're gonna buy it. So how does that really affect Nintendo? No, we don't want to publish more of that. I don't know. Do you have any more insight on that kind of thing?
No, I don't really know. I think I'm just in the same boat as you for that one, because
right.
It doesn't make much sense that Nintendo, because it's not Nintendo paying for it.
Yeah.
But and they don't really have that many Game Boy games on the Virtual Console to begin with. They did for maybe half a year put shit out, but then they stopped. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
It's funny that's coming from Nintendo, who says, oh, here, we're going to release a new Virtual Console system, like Wii games or whatever, and then supports it for 2 weeks and then drops it. So it's if companies want to support it, it's what are you doing? It's not like you're putting out Virtual Console games anyway. Might as well have something.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, really. If it's not Nintendo. One thing I thought was neat that happened this week, or is going to happen, I forget what date it's supposed to happen, but the Zelda Symphony is going to be a musical guest on the Stephen Colbert Show, which I think is kind of cool because it's kind of getting into mainstream people's attention. I didn't think it'd kind of reach that high.
Yeah, that's really cool.
They've been going for a couple of years now, and just adding more and more to it, so it's cool.
Who, Colbert?
No, the Zelda Symphony. So they started off.
I did see it back in Denver when it came. The first year I think it toured. Mm-hmm. So they're adding to it. I think it's definitely good for the mainstream, and not just that, but more for the people that used to play Zelda at one point but don't anymore. Kind of remind them.
Yeah, it's cool. And then with each new game that's come out, they've added those songs. So they added some Majora's Mask songs when that came out, and they're adding, I think, some Triforce Heroes songs, and I think they added Link Between Worlds at one point. So it's cool. Hopefully we'll finally get Zelda U. Then they'll add that music. So going back to Splatoon for a second, there was a web app, I don't remember, a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago that was in Japanese, but now they finally translated in English for all 3 sentences that they had to translate. But you can check your friends and your stats, and if someone's on the Wii U, online on the Wii U, it doesn't say what game they're playing though, you can set up a time to post to your Twitter when you want to play, so you can schedule an announcement. So that's kind of cool. But more importantly is you can finally see what gosh dang stages and modes are playing throughout the day. Because before it was a crapshoot, you just went on and you're like, okay, these stages and modes are playing. It'll change in 3 to 4 hours from I don't know what time, because I wasn't there at that point when it started. But now you can actually see what's going on throughout the day. So if you're oh, I want to play this mode, I have to be on between these hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, As I said, well, I'm sorry, I missed that piece of news. Was it Splatoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, zoned out. I have been, no offense to Splatoon, but have not been in the Splatoon scene very much since June.
Oh man.
I wish I could provide input. As I said, I really do, but I've missed so much, and I feel like it's kind of like Destiny or whatever, what people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Personal note, I've never really gotten into Destiny, but, when they say you leave, and it's really hard to come back.
Yeah, I tried the beta for Destiny. I wasn't really impressed, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I played like 4 hours and then sold my game.
Oh my gosh.
If I remember correctly, I bought it for like the same amount as I sold it. But when it comes to Splatoon, it's the same thing, where they added so many maps and modes that I really don't know if I feel comfortable coming back in. I used to be really good, and now I feel like I'd be terrible.
Yeah, I guess that's a problem when you start off with like 2 levels, and now it's like here's 10, and then here's a bunch of other weapons too. Yeah, I can see how it's hard to get back in. So Skull Kid is now going to be playable on the Hyrule Warriors Legends, and Phantom Ganon is going to be like a new big boss that you can fight. So that's kind of cool. I don't know. Add Vatty, for crying out loud. I want to play him in some gosh dang game, please. Make it Smash Bros. Yokai Watch. They're unsure if they're going to release the sequels or port the sequels to North America at all, or if they're going to do
the major thing
retail.
Is they just don't know how they're going to go about it, because there's 3 versions in Japan, and they just don't. I'm sure they'll bring it over. It seemed like more of the concern would be whether they're going to release it at retail or digital. It was number 1. And number 2, which of the versions they'll bring over, if all 3 or if just 1 or what.
Okay, so you're saying versions, which I assume is different than a numbered sequel, so...
No, I mean when a Pokemon comes out, there's 2 versions.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Yokai Watch 2 has 3 versions.
Oh, jeez.
There's... I forgot what they were. It's like something in... There were 2 originally, and then just like Pokemon, there was a 3rd version that came out like a year later.
Okay.
But since America's so much behind, they just don't know they're going to release all 3 or just 1 or what.
So is the 3rd game the first 2 combined and then some extra stuff?
No. It's just like the versions, like Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. They're all pretty much the same game.
Yeah.
But like really, really minor differences.
Okay.
So there's 3 versions of the second one. So it's like.
Yeah, but for Pokemon, the 3rd one, I thought you could catch the version exclusives in both of them. Correct?
Yeah. That would be the difference.
That's what I'm wondering if.
But I don't know if it's the same way with Yokai Watch.
Okay, yeah, that's...
I wish I could tell you. So there's Yokai Watch, Ganso, Honke, and Shinuchi. So there's 3.
That's weird. They should probably, to make it easier, just choose one of them and stick with it, or just put them all in one. Like, somehow. Like, just take the content from all 3 of them. Because otherwise... I don't know. I guess they'll have to wait to see how much Yokai Watch sells in North America before they make that choice.
Yeah, just wait until Yokai Watch 3 comes out, because I think it's like Yokai Watch. They'll sell Busters, which is like a spin-off, and I think they've released like 8 different Yokai Watch games. I mean, not 8, but 8 games of various versions and stuff within like 4 years, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a mess to deal with. So there's not really anything else, but one thing I thought would be neat is to ask a question. Unfortunately, there's only 2 of us, but whatever. If you could choose one non-Nintendo character to be an amiibo, what would you choose? And if you have an idea of a pose, what would they be in, or what game, or how they used, or whatever?
Out of pure comedic purposes, if we could have a Bayonetta amiibo with just like her legs wide open, that would be kind of funny. But That would never happen, and I wouldn't foresee it. But I think Rayman would be really cool.
Oh gosh, that's like the next worst one.
It would just be it would require quite a bit of creativity. But
Yeah, that's for sure. It would just be like he'd be lying down on his back on the stand, and then his hands would be like lying on top of him, so nothing is technically floating. That's how they avoid it.
or you can just put it in the box with everything floating, and since nobody actually opens their amiibo boxes, they'll stay together.
Oh gosh. Some kids like, hey mommy, I want to open this. No, like they all fall out of the place. Like, I can't do anything with it. It's like, do I scan his head in, or his foot, or his butt?
What about you?
I think Crash Bandicoot would be cool. He kind of fits the Nintendo aesthetic of like this cartoony character, like a mascot. He has like a distinct style, and he's like a goofy, likable character.
Oh yeah, because he isn't owned by Microsoft or anything.
You mean Sony?
Yeah, I mean Sony. I got Crash Bandicoot mixed up with Banjo-Kazooie. Whoops, my bad.
But his pose would be like his signature spin move, where he has like his arms sticking out and he has like this whirlwind underneath him, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I thought of so I have a mascot for my YouTube channel and stuff, and it was a character I kind of made back in college for something, and I kind of wanted to make like a whole character, and I've been looking at like 3D printers because I have a modeling program, and I've always thought of like making the model in like Maya or something, and then sending it to one of those places to have it like modeled, and then like either rip off the Smash Bros coin from another amiibo, or just like print that along with it and have it like painted and have it like work, and like have it on my desk, be like, this is my amiibo. But that's pretty much it for this week. Did you have any interesting pieces you came across you wanted to talk about?
I'm trying to remember, but I don't really recall what was that interesting this week. I think it's really cool. There was a study that was just conducted that I saw concerning video games and the placebo effect, which I saw on Go Nintendo. And essentially what it talked about is they gave a certain number of people, 21 people, to play 2 rounds of Don't Starve. In the first one, they told them that it would just that everything was just randomly generated. And in the second one, they said that the generation was dependent on like how well the person played. So if the person played better, it'd be harder, and vice versa. And then they checked like how difficult the people assessed the game to be each round, and they found that there was a discernible difference, and people actually thought the game was harder when it would adapt to their ability level, or easier depending on how well the player actually played. So it worked, even though it was the same version that they played both times. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's cool. How does that game, like, I've seen some gameplay-ish, but how does it work?
Oh,
like, just
I don't,
characters come out of the woods and then attack you, sort of thing? Like, it's just random?
Yeah, I don't really know.
Okay.
I played the game for like 2 minutes and just didn't really get it, or get into it, so. The other thing I want to point out is there's this game coming out called The Legend of Legacy, which is a really cool RPG.
Yeah.
I didn't review it, so I can't really tell you anything about it, but it looks like a really cool game. I think you should look into it. I think our reviewer gave it an 8 or something. And the last thing I want to point out is a piece of news here that there's more Pokemon Go info coming later this month. So keep your eyes out, because I'm stoked for that.
Yeah, that'll be... They can only go up from here because they've basically said nothing about it. So that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. Exactly. What we want to see is gameplay, really, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get to see gameplay quite yet. But I'm sure they'll... Well, when is it supposed to launch? Did they give a release window, or was it just 2016?
Early 2016, I think they said.
Okay, so then, yeah, I guess we will probably see gameplay. Mine
Yeah,
are
hopefully.
All right, so I think that about wraps it up for this week. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And where can people find you, Eli?
You can find me on Twitter, Paulo Salon. Same thing with my IGN, which is slowly coming back to life. You can find my writing on NintendoEnthusiast.com.
Cool. Yeah, I noticed the notifications are actually starting to work now. Whereas when it first launched, I didn't really get notifications all that right, but it looks like it's working a lot better right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to go up from here as far as the mechanics of the website are concerned. I'm not sure how quickly we'll get back the community, but there's always hope. So
Yeah.
wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, and IGN. You can drop us a question to read on the podcast, and if you want to be a guest, you can message me on Twitter at the Mango Viking. So remember, leave luck to the heavens and leave gaming to Nintendo.